I've been on a grand jury. So I served in Manhattan on a grand jury for 30 days, which is what you're supposed to do. And first of all, I found it fascinating. I was obsessed. I was that girl in there taking notes, asking all
Mhm.
sorts of questions. But I can tell you the other, I forget if it's 23, 21, whatever it is, people in the room, they say it's a jury of your peers. No, it is not. These are people that could care less about what they're listening to. They can't wait for the clock to strike five. Some of them are in it for the $43 that they get. No one cares. And I cared. And there were so many times where I felt like I was in the movie 12 Angry Men or whatever it was, where people are just raising their hand, like, yeah, send him to, let's move on. He's guilty. And I was like, how did you get that from that? You didn't even ask these questions. They didn't supply this. So, like, I can understand how people are just listening to the evidence and no one has the IQ or the curiosity to say, well, that doesn't really make sense. Like, let's hear more. So I get it. But what I don't understand is you say it was brought back a couple times. How does that work? Because I thought once the grand jury says you're indicted, that it moves forward. So how did that
The
go
first,
backwards?
all right, great question. The first step, and I didn't know this either until my attorney taught me. This was how brilliant of an attorney he was. He goes, well, the first goal is let's not get it to trial.
Right.
Let's get it kicked out at the grand jury. I go, you can do that. He goes, yes, we're going to file a motion to remand it back because he failed to present exculpatory evidence.
Oh,
So
I see.
every time we would get the transcripts from the grand jury with the jurors' names redacted, and we would go through it, and he would never present the correct self-defense laws for the state of Arizona, and then he would never present the video evidence.
Right.
And so the judge every time would send it back. It got so bad between him and the judge that the judge actually made a finding of fact from the video, which is never done before a case goes to trial, based on the video that I followed Arizona self-defense law, and then told him, and then he still wouldn't dismiss it. The judge told him to take it back to the grand jury again and present this, and that's when he demanded a preliminary hearing.
Got it. So that's interesting. So the judge obviously saw this evidence, saw that there was a possibility that it was self-defense or knew it was. But because these are going to trial, he can't actually make that decision to throw it out himself, correct?
Not at that point,
Got
correct?
it. Got it.
All right.
Okay.
And
So,
see, Arizona's different. It's followed the same rules as 28 other states have done.
right.
We're no longer an affirmative defense state. We're a justification defense state. What does that mean? California, New York, they're affirmative defense states. The moment you say that it's self-defense in those states, you have to prove it was self-defense.
Okay.
In Arizona, Texas, Florida, several other states, they have justification laws now that when you say it was self-defense, you're saying that you were justified in your actions
Right.
because you feel for your you felt that physical force was going to and physical harm was going to come to you, or physical deadly force.
Right.
Uh,
I, yeah, go ahead.
so that's how it broke down. And when I said it was self-defense, they ignored the Arizona laws that actually put the burden of proving that it wasn't self-defense back on me instead of on them.
Right. It's so interesting because I feel like Americans as a whole really respect veterans. I mean, I don't know if you see it that way, and I'd love to hear your opinion, but as someone who's not a veteran and always listens to, how people treat veterans in a lot of situations, even down to something as small as getting on the airplane first, people are like, thank you for your service. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would have thought that when you announced, by the way, I'm a veteran, I'm carrying a gun, I've had all this training, like I know what I'm doing, I know the law, that people would have given you a little more respect. Did you find that to be the case?
No, not at all. Not at all. I have in my life in the way I'm treated when I go out, but
Yeah,
definitely not in this case.
right.
What I found out, and this is going to shock you, is and I was able to narrow it down to one word: honor. Most of society today thinks honor is integrity, doing the right thing when no one's looking.
Mhm.
Honor, though, is doing the right thing no matter the cost. In the military, you're trained to do the right thing no matter the cost.
Mm-hmm.
In police forces, at least in Yuma, and I'm seeing a lot of other places as well, just on the news, like Daniel Penny in New York.
Right. I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah. They know that they have no case. All right. But instead of doing the right thing, the hard thing, they want to make it, they don't want to put the burden on them that they have to justify their actions, so they ignore it. An example, I knew 4 of the police officers on this police force that arrested me.
Okay.
I went to all my lead investigator and my attorney went to them. They came in and watched the video after we had it forensically enhanced by the FBI's lead forensics expert, video forensics expert. And they all said, oh yeah, you got a great case, you're going to win. But every single one of them said, I can't put my name on that. I can't go against my brothers in blue.
Oh.
Every single one of them. Loyalty to them is higher, from what I've seen, than honor. Now, that's not that way across the board. I know there were several federal officers that stepped up that knew me from my business and were friends that signed on the line and stood in front of the judge.
Right. Right. So in doing some research about you and your case, I didn't know that there was stand your ground laws, or otherwise known as no duty to retreat laws.
Correct.
Can you for people that are listening, and we've talked about this a little already about self-defense, but can you talk about it? I mean, it essentially allows people to use deadly force to defend yourself. But I mean, you hear about it all the time, like you said with the Perry case. People can't, it seems really hard to prove. And so, and there are movies made about it. Like if you have an intruder and they're in your house, you're more likely to be seen as using deadly force to protect yourself. The second they step out of the house and you still kill them, you could go to prison for it. So
Correct.
there are all these crazy laws. Like what did you come to understand about this now that you had to go through it?
I understand that over the past 50 years or so, our laws have been turned upside down.
Hmm.
To understand this, I'm going to go ahead and give you an example of my brother. In 1966, his father woke him up at 2 a.m., said, come out here on the porch and wash this blood off the porch. They lived outside Fayetteville, North Carolina. There was a dead man on the porch. 10 minutes later, a sheriff comes driving up and walks up on the porch and goes, what happens? My brother's father said, and pointed to the dead man and said, ask him. He goes, I can't, he's dead. He goes, exactly. So don't try to add anything to what I'm getting ready to tell you. He was coming through that window right there, breaking into my house. I have my wife and 7 kids. I put 2 bullets in his chest. Any questions? It went to the grand jury and there were no charges because he was defending his household. Now today, though, prosecutors are elected, and they're elected by the population there. So let's use Daniel Penny, for example.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Daniel Penny's white, Marine. The guy that he restrained, he didn't kill him. He restrained him because he was on drugs, threatening everybody in the car.
Mm-hmm.
He restrained him till the cops came. He didn't die until 5-10 minutes later.
Right.
And if the prosecutor had done his job and been a minister of justice, that being Alvin Bragg in this case,
Mm-hmm.
if he had presented all the evidence, all the witnesses that were there in the video from the phones to the grand jury, it would have never gone to trial. But
Right.
he would have been, his constituents would have said, oh, he's soft on crime. You let a white man kill a black man. They
Right.
throw race into it when it has nothing to do with race.
Right.
And so that's why these prosecutors do that. They're elected and they're afraid of their constituents to do the right thing.
Right. I hear you. Okay, so now tell me what happened. So it went back to the grand jury. What was the ultimate outcome of that situation?
Well, after the 3rd grand jury, when it was getting sent back the 4th time,
Mm-hmm.
the prosecutor got so mad he demanded a preliminary hearing.
Okay.
Now I love Connecticut and Pennsylvania. That for felony charges, that's all they do now. They got rid of grand juries.
Okay.
All right. A preliminary hearing is like a mini trial, Rachel. You have a judge, Prosecution presents his case and the defense is able to present their case, and both are able to cross-examine. So
And no jury, or just
no jury,
okay, so just the judge.
just the judge. He's determining, is there probable cause for the case to go to trial?
Okay, got it.
He scheduled 3 days. The prosecutor was done after 6 hours. He didn't use any of the videos. He brought up the witnesses that were friends of the guys that attacked me, and then the lead detective. And my attorney used the video. Every one of them recanted their testimony on the stand. The police officer, the police detective, my attorney got very frustrated with him throughout the entire thing. He said it wasn't his job to know the law. It was the job of the prosecutor and the judges. And because he didn't know the new self-defense laws in Arizona that have been out about 5, 10, 15 years. Okay. And at the end of it, we didn't even have to put on a case. The judge dismissed the entire case. He looked right at the prosecutor and goes, probable cause is a low bar to obtain in the United States. And I could argue in court that it's even lower in the state of Arizona, and you haven't even come close.
Wow.
Mr. Todd was justified in his actions, defending himself and his wife. All charges are dismissed.
And that was it? You could walk out of court and you were good to go? I
could walk out of court.
And there was no chance that they could try you again somehow?
Well, he did dismiss it 4 months later with prejudice, so they could never come back. Okay. Because initially he did it without prejudice, and then we filed a motion to make it with prejudice. But still, this is the rough thing, Rachel. It took me another 5.5 years to clear my record in my business.
Meaning what?
I own a national financial advisory firm. We're registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The moment you're charged with a felony, you have to disclose it to every single client, new client within your firm that's doing any business with you. And to get that off, it has to be expunged or sealed. And then you got all the regulators with all the states. It cost my company over $250,000 just to clear that stuff off the record.
Right. And it's one thing to clear it off the record, but anyone that knows the story, still it was out there that you were accused of attempted murder. And, once it's out there, no matter what the result was.
Correct. Oh, yeah. And some of the states were just horrendous. Oklahoma put me all over their website. Right. And I'm in Arizona, and I only had one client there, but it's good to let a state know when you're doing business in their state. Right. And they put me all over their website like I'm some kind of crazed murderer and stuff. So
did it affect your clientele? Did a lot of people walk?
Fortunately not. They knew me. We did not lose one client. And one that did leave for a very brief amount of time found out, they go, well, they don't do what you all do, Barry, so we're coming back.